Hello and welcome to Horror Cult Trash Over, the show that discusses all of the masterpieces and trash pieces of genre cinema. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And we're back with another Summer Screams episode, and this time we have one of my favourite subgenres.
And what's that?
That is 1950s beach party movies.
Yeah.
Also 1960s as well, even though I think it was dying out by that point, but there's just something so charming about them. And this one's not on a beach. This is one of the subcategories of the subgenre of beach movies. It's basically teensploitation.
Teensploitation, that's what you would call it.
Yeah, yes. It's either on a beach, or it's racing cars, or it's rock and roll careers.
Or it's good girls gone bad.
Good girls gone bad. And I mean, this has a bit of all of those apart from the beach, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's it packs a lot into a small amount of time, like a lot of these films did.
It does. It follows the same formula as all of them, but I just cannot get enough of it. We're, of course, talking about Ghost of Dragstrip Hollow from 1959, the sequel to The Hot Rod Gang.
Yeah, sequel, kind of.
Yeah.
The couple of characters in common. You don't have to watch Hot Rod Gang before watching Ghost of Dragstrip Hollow.
No, but you should, because the Hot Rod Gang is a very good film.
Yes. But we discuss it a lot on the podcast, and like Gary's mentioned, it's one of our favourite genres. These 50s, 60s, teensploitation, rockabilly, camp films that were so prominent, the B-movies. We love it. It's that kind of Americana that we really enjoy, because if you looked at the English films from around that time, they're quite stuffy in comparison. We have the odd ones, but they're very influenced by these, teensploitation films from America. So Ghost of Dragstrip Hollow and the Hot Rod Gang before it, they were produced by American International Pictures, AIP for short. And the head of American International Pictures was Samuel Z. Arkoff. Mm-hmm. He was a very famous producer of B-movies. Just threw out a load of these kind of films, and hopefully they stuck. Double bill, drive-in. He did a lot of the Roger Corman films as well. The ones he did of Edgar Allan Poe. So all very campy horror, exploitation, ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Love it. And he most famously kind of came up with the Arkoff formula. Mm-hmm. And I'll give it to you now, Gary, and we can think about it as we're going through the film. It's an acronym with his not his initials, with his surname. So A is for action, R is for revolution.
Wow.
K is for killing. O is for oratory. Mm-hmm. F is for fantasy. And the second F is for fornication. So action, something exciting. Revolution, something novel or controversial. Killing, there's a bit of violence in there. Oratory, so there's notable dialogue. Mm-hmm. Fantasy, there's some far out shit going down that doesn't really make any sense. And obviously fornication, a little bit of sex appeal.
Yeah.
So they also came up with the Peter Pan syndrome, which was a strategy that they devised. So they essentially said that a younger child will watch anything that an older child will watch. Mm-hmm. An older child will not watch anything that a younger child will watch. A girl will watch anything that a boy will watch.
Yeah.
A boy will not watch anything that a girl will watch. And therefore, to catch your greatest audience, you zero in on the 19-year-old male. Which I think this film does.
It does.
I think it actually fits a lot of these categories. Yeah. And we can think about it as we're going through. But I do think it's really interesting, his formula for a successful B-movie.
Yeah.
And, we sit here and we want to say not every film should be for 19-year-old males. Well, it kind of sometimes feels like the big films are aimed at and it's changing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greta Gerwig.
Well, I was actually going to bring up Barbie, the theory that a boy won't watch what a girl will watch. You know, in 2023, I sit here right now telling you that men are still out there gendering films and being afraid to watch
Mhm.
Barbie because it's too girly.
Absolutely. 70 years
Yeah,
after the Arkoff, films,
yeah.
after the American International Pictures B movies, that
Mm-hmm.
the formula still stands, and we are looking at a change, and hopefully that change quickens up. But yeah, like you said, too many people are gendering films.
Yeah.
And, I, for one, think that every film should be enjoyed by
Mm.
everyone,
Yeah.
regardless of gender, sexuality, race, age. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there should be age limits on certain things, I don't think kids should be watching every film that comes out, but the point still
Yeah.
stands. I think film should be for everyone, and you know
Yeah, no, absolutely. But also, looking at that comparison from then to now, imagine if we had teen exploitation films now in the same way as this. I mean, back then you obviously had everyone being a bit, oh, gee, golly, I'm gonna steal your girl, and racing around in cars and and so on. Nowadays, I mean, I don't want to sound like an old man, but everyone would just be doing silly TikToks on the beach.
Yeah, they would, and that would be teen exploitation. I would say something like Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
That would
Absolutely teen
be, yeah, that's
exploitation.
true. I mean, talk to me.
Talk to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, like Booksmart.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
I
know these
suppose.
these are teen movies,
Yeah,
but they are teen movies that kind of exaggerate.
yeah.
They are over the top.
Mm-hmm.
In many of its themes, it's not. I wouldn't say Ladybird was, because Ladybird is quite a sort of quieter film,
Yeah,
a more reflective film.
yeah.
But I think the teen exploitation does. I think for me, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is
That's true. That's true.
definitely
Yeah,
modern teen
yeah.
exploitation.
Well, Ghost of Dragstrip Hollow was directed by William J. Hull Jr., who directed the. Chris, stop laughing. That's his actual name.
J Hole, but K Hole.
The director of The Forsaken Westerns, The Bionic Woman, Peyton Place, The Face of Terror, The Young and the Cool, The Devil's Hands, Speed Crazy, Hellbound, and more.
So yeah, the lots of episodes of the TV series Peyton Place, not the Lana Turner movie. Yeah, very much B movie. I'm looking at Letterboxd now, and these posters are giving me life.
Yeah.
I'm loving them. Over the top, ridiculous, stupid. Let's say stupid as well, because a lot of these films are a bit stupid.
They are, and I'm sure you can say the same thing about the films by the writer Lou Russoff, who did Hot Rod Gang, of course, Rebel Highway, Back to the Beach, Beach Party, Submarine Seahawk, Dragstrip Girl, Cat Girl, The She Creature, Flesh and the Spur, Girls in Prison, Shake, Rattle and Rock, and more.
I love a women in prison film.
Yeah,
love it. Again, I'm looking at these posters. I'm looking at his filmography, and I'm living my best life. These look amazing. Yeah, I feel like maybe now we should explain what drag strip means, because I don't really know 100% myself. It's not Drag Race, as in RuPaul's Drag Race.
I wish it was.
I'm assuming drag strip is like in Greece.
I think
like
it's
when they're racing
a certain road where people go racing.
Yeah, but not like an official one, because I feel like the whole idea of drag racing is that it's illegal.
Yeah,
they're doing it in public, not in a confined space where they can't hurt anyone.
If any of our straight listeners can write in and tell us.
No. I don't know. I mean, do we drag race in the UK?
I think that's the equivalent of what we like to call in the UK boy racers.
Boy racers. I remember I used to work at Sainsbury's, a supermarket here in the UK.
Jesus.
Yeah, and almost every Saturday night there would be cars gathered at the top left-hand corner of the car park, and they would just, what would you call it, donuts? Where it would just the car would just sort of spin round.
I'm honestly just surprised they weren't dogging.
No, I'm not explaining what dogging is.
Good old Sainsbury's car park.
Yeah.
This was made on a budget of, I have no idea, and I also have no idea, because I could not find out information online, but I can tell you, in January 1960, this film was widely shown at drive-in theatres on a double bill with The Diary of a High School Bride.
Yeah. Diary of a High School Bride.
And I wish that was a double bill we did.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it's a strange double bill. I find a lot of these, when we've sort of talked about drive-in double bills, the two films aren't necessarily too similar.
No.
So like this is drag racing and the other
Yeah.
one is Teenage Bride.
Yeah.
You know?
So, shall we talk about who's in it?
Yes, in a section we like to call, Hey, I Know You.
I thought you were going to do like a 50s teen voice. Oh, I know you.
Well, that's Mae West. Mae West. What? Like, oh, I don't know. I feel like I need to click my fingers when I'm doing it. Hey, what's the jazz?
Anyway, Jodie Fair.
Who are you, Buster?
Jodie Fair plays the absolute fucking goddess that is Lois Cavendish. She's everything I strive to be in life. She was in Bonanza, My Three Sons, Wide Country, The Young Savages, Sex Kittens Go to College, Girls Town, The Brain Eaters, High School Confidential, and more.
These titles.
I know.
Sex Kittens Go to College. Are you serious?
I might have to see if I'll go through all of her filmography.
I like how so many of these B movies from the 50s, the titles could be porn films.
Yeah.
Like High School Confidential, The Young Savages, Sex Kittens Go to College. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Hot Rod Gang.
I know. I really, really love Jodie Fair in this. Just gives me life.
She is, yeah. She's top notch.
Russ Bender is sitting opposite me right now. Also, plays Tom Hendry.
Highly inappropriate.
From War of the Colossal Beast, the Twilight Zone, It Conquered the World, The Young Animals, Days of Wine and Roses, I Saw What You Did, opposite Joan Crawford.
Yeah.
The Navy versus the Night Monsters, and more.
Yeah. Days of Wine and Roses, that was fairly well received film. But yeah, everything else.
Is that the divorce film with Kathleen Turner?
No, that was War of the Roses.
Oh, okay.
Days of Wine and Roses is Lee Remick and Jack Lemmon playing alcoholics.
Are you aware of the Kathleen Turner one?
With directed by Danny DeVito, wasn't it?
Are you aware that Alice Cooper wanted to remake it with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard?
Oh dear. Okay.
Go.
Less said about that, the better. Thank you.
I actually really like Russ Bender in this. He's just like, oh, well, give these kids a break.
I don't know how old he's meant to be. It's confusing.
They act like he's like fucking 100 years old.
They do. They do.
He's like, oh, come on, these kids aren't so bad.
He is very sort of on their side. He's an ally for the teens.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of exploiting them because he's writing an article on them.
Yeah, but they know about it.
Yeah. Henry McCann plays Dave. He was in No Time for Sergeants, Submarine Seahawk, M Squad, The DA's Man, The Anne Southern Show, Shirley Temple's Storybook, Pal Joey, and more. Do we think he was typecast as a nerd in all of those, or just this one?
I think he was typecast as a nerd. You know, well, he's got thick glasses. What are you meant to do with an actor with thick glasses?
Oh, exactly.
He's not going to play a handsome leading man, is he? Fucking hell.
And finally, from me, I have Martin Braddock as Stan. He was in Fist.
Fist?
Herbie Rides Again. Shirts and Skins.
Oh my god.
The Cliff. Banning. School for Violence. Lassie. Perry Mason. Mannix. Calling Dr. Gannon. Kojak, and more.
Again, you know, some of them really sound like porn films. We also have Dorothy Newman as Anastasia Abernathy,
Yes.
who is the kooky older lady. Should we put it like
they
that?
Couldn't get Joan Crawford.
Yes.
Before.
And she, being the absolute queen that she was, I'm assuming she's no longer with us. She starred in The Day the Earth Stood Still, 10 Commandments, Valley of the Dolls, Gigi, The Snake Pit with Olivia de Havilland, Sorry Wrong Number, Blackboard Jungle, Private Parts, Anything Goes.
Wow.
Yeah, she's in loads of. Well, there's some prestigious films there, actually. You know, not just a B-movie actress, and she was, of course, also in Hot Rod Gang. So there are a few, actors / characters that return. So, like, Russ Bender was in Hot Rod Gang, wasn't he?
Yeah, playing a different character.
But he plays a different character, so that's a...
They get away with it because everyone looks the same these days in the 50s.
Yeah.
In the teen gang. And with the older guys as well, you know. A lot of them just look the same, so they kind of get away with it.
It's true, and none of them ever look their age.
None of them look like teenagers.
Especially Jack Ging as Tony, who was in no way whatsoever.
He looks older than Russ Bender.
He was 27, playing this teen, and looked every fucking minute of it. He was also in High Plains Drifter, Play Misty for Me, Hang 'em High. So he worked with what's his name? Clint Eastwood a lot. Thank you very much. And probably both best known for his role as General Harlan Bull Fulbright. I don't know how to say that name because I never watched the show. In the A-Team.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, other than that, it's a lot of B-movie actors, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, in keeping with, you know, the time and the budgets.
Well, with that being said, let's talk about our feature presentation.
The Ghost of Dragstrip Hollow. Anybody want to kiss a duck?
There's a perfectly rational explanation for all this.
Pet cats and hot rodders, they're all alive to the jive.
We start with opening credits with a fun rock and roll song and some spooky ghosts floating around.
It's rock and roll, but it's also giving me like a sitcom opening, like from the time, like I Love Lucy, The Honeymooners, that kind of style of song. Yeah, ghostly figures. Don't get used to them.
I know,
it's gonna be a very long time.
Make the most of it.
Make the most of.
Considering this is a film called The Ghost of Dragstrip Hollow, there's not a lot of ghosts, and actually not a lot of Dragstrip Hollow either.
There's whatever Dragstrip Hollow is. Is it even mentioned in the film?
Yeah, that's where the mansion is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So the mansion's there, but we don't get to see a lot of that either.
No.
So we start with two queens, one of which is Lois from Los Angeles drag racing club, the Hot Rod Gang.
Yes.
And the other is her rival, Nita, that bitch.
Yeah, so it's the Hot Rod Gang, but they're also called the Zenith Club in this film as well. Yeah. So she was in the first. Was this character in the first film? Okay.
I believe so.
I think so. But not as prominent as in this. No, I don't think it was. I don't think she was.
No? I feel like she was the love interest that he ended up getting with.
I thought the love interest was blonde in the first one.
At first, yeah. But then he got with someone else.
Oh, maybe.
Sorry for spoiling Hot Rod Gang.
Sorry.
So they're racing against each other and a policeman chases after them. Lois is wearing a great sun hat. It's an absolute miracle it's staying on.
Oh my god, that must be glued down to her fucking head.
And because she's an absolute icon and expert on drag racing, she's not the one who gets caught by the police. No. And she sends Nita crashing into a wall.
Nita's giving Penelope pit stop.
She is.
So I'm living for that as well. And, you know, our two ladies, they're breaking those gender stereotypes.
Yeah.
They're drag racing. Lois is like, see you, bitch.
Yeah.
Fucks off after Nita crashes. And I'm living for it. I really am.
It's honestly, it was a little jarring because obviously, you know, predominantly in films like this, you see a lot of men racing all the time and everything. So for the film to open with these two queens racing like that, I was like, oh my god, yes, give me more
Which
of
is
this.
great, which is really great. But then the film brings up a lot. And interestingly, it brings up these sort of gender stereotypes a lot, but doesn't quite make its mind up as to what its stance is.
I mean, I took it as a positive take on it because it's highlighting the misogyny surrounding it. But Lois is still a drag racer by the end of the film.
She's not though.
Is she not?
No, she vows to never drag race again.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Oh, of course she does. Yeah.
And then gets her man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
up until that point, it's a feminist film.
Yeah. Because we then cut to a gang of teenagers, the Zenith Club, working on their vehicles, and they're talking with journalist Tom Hendry
Yeah.
about their cars and how millions of readers will want to read about them and their cars. So one of the girls, and it's hard to keep up with a lot of these characters because they come and go and they don't really do much.
No.
They just have sort of zingy one-liners every so often. Rhoda is one of them. Rhoda doesn't do anything else for the rest of the film, but she does say that Tom Hendry, he's got static in his attic, completely zonked. Tom Hendry then says, I'll have to include a dictionary with this story. And I thought, what the fuck does static in the attic mean? Now, I asked this question a lot during the film as well. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? What is that meant to mean? I Urban Dictionary'd it.
Okay.
Static in the attic. And would you like to know what Urban Dictionary says?
I would, even if Urban Dictionary wasn't around in the 50s.
It wasn't, and I don't think this is what she was saying. But, according to Urban Dictionary, static in the attic is when a guy or girl is caught masturbating in the attic by a friend, parent, or sibling, making for an awkward situation, and they just can't get the image out of their mind.
Let's go with that. That's what she meant.
I thought she was talking about writer's block.
Well,
but she may have been talking about giving yourself a treat in the attic and being
word
caught.
on the street. Respender was having it off of himself in the attic. The nerdy one, Dave, claims to have come up with the transcendental nature of locomotion and combustion. Dave is a twat.
He's talking about Albert Einstein, the nerd.
Honestly,
what a nerd.
Now, I love this film, but this fucking section of them talking about cars was fucking draining.
Well,
especially means we were analysing it scene for scene, minute for minute, and we had to, we didn't want to miss anything out for you guys, none of the juicy details. So we had to listen to these fucking nerds talking about cars for what felt like 3 hours.
Yeah, so surprisingly, Dave appears to have a girlfriend.
Oh my god, that's fucking rude.
I know, because he's such a nerd. It's Albert Einstein.
I'm a nerd, I've got you.
Yeah, I know.
You're a nerd, you got me.
I'm being sarcastic because of the film, you weirdo.
Have you actually been mean to him?
No! But the film is, he has thick rimmed glasses, he must be a nerd. And he's...
Yeah, but so is his girlfriend.
So is his girlfriend. Yeah, because she's standing next to him. She's a very attractive woman. She's nodding along as he's speaking because she wears glasses too, so she understands the theory of relativity and all that business. And we also get Bonzo the Clown, who is, I think, going to a Three Stooges sort of thing. And he's wearing a bowler hat, and he makes a joke out of absolutely everything. At this point, I was like, okay, this is going to be grating. It was a little bit, but half the time I didn't understand his jokes anyway.
I forgot he was there.
And then and this is the boring bit.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Hendry speaks to Tommy Ivo, I'm not sure, who was a real life drag race Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
next to Chad Michaels and Jimbo.
It's pretty much Gran Turismo, the movie, isn't it? That's what I imagine the film's like.
So Tommy Evo, he talks about his records and how he builds his vehicles, and it actually does go on for a very long time.
It's like Gran Turismo.
He talks about he talks about how he narrowed the rear end by 24 inches, and it piqued my interest a little bit, but it didn't really go anywhere after that. But he did fucking hell. He don't have to go on. Like, who cares?
Yeah, I kind of just skipped over it. I got to the point where they're trying to convince Tom Hendry that they're not juvenile delinquents. And one of the queens poses for him on a car, and she's like, "Well, I'm sure you'll be wanting some pictures. How's this?"
And then the other girl does it as well.
Yeah, so she starts posing as well.
He hasn't got a camera, hun. Well, who are you posing
It's just
for?
this idea that all the adults in the 1950s, and it's always the way they're portrayed as well, I always think that every single teenager or 20-year-olds posing as teenagers are just absolute fucking bastards who will wreck your house and steal your daughter.
Yeah, but what they're saying is that because they spend all their time and their money on their cars,
Yeah.
they can't be juvenile delinquents because they've got somewhere to be.
No, but then Lois arrives back after nearly murdering Nita.
Now an actual juvenile delinquent turns up.
And they introduce her to Tom Hendry, and he's like, "Well, I don't know, girls take part in this sport." And Dave's like, "It's disgusting. It's so unfeminine." And he seems genuinely
disgusted. Like, fuck off, Dave.
Yeah.
Up to that point, I felt bad for him. I was like, he's got thick rim glasses. He's clearly having a hard time because he is a nerd. And nerds obviously have terrible time, particularly in teen movies. Nerds are, at the bottom of the ladder. But fuck Dave. Yeah. Dave can fuck off.
Tom Hendry asks if he can stay with them at their clubhouse, and they explain that they are currently in the process of being evicted, but he can stay until they have to leave. Kind of creepy, not gonna lie. Tom Hendry's like, "Oh, well, kids, how do you do? I'm gonna come stay with you for a while.
Yeah.
In your clubhouse."
Yeah, it's a weird setup, not get up. It's a weird setup because how much does he need to watch?
And does he have to watch him sleep?
Like, surely he can get a hotel if he's a proper journalist.
Yeah.
The magazine or the newspaper will cover the hotel for the time he doesn't have to sleep with them.
The gang go to a diner where they sit around and watch people dancing to the Renegades performing Geronimo.
Well,
I hope you enjoyed the song.
Just a little bit before that, because obviously Stan's going on about how they're wholesome kids and, they aren't just drag racing for kicks and thrills and they take it very seriously. My question is, what was Lewis doing earlier then?
Lois, not Lewis.
Lois. And Lois is then visited by the police officer from earlier before we go to the band performing Geronimo. Now, nothing happens at this. He literally just, "Can you come with me, lady?" And she does, and it's never mentioned afterwards that she got arrested.
But yeah, the Renegades performing Geronimo.
Yes.
I hope you like the song because it is repeated throughout.
It's a bit like the Shadows, where it's like instrumental, but every so often they'll shout Geronimo.
I'm jealous that these people got to grow up in a time where the way to promote your band was to get it in a fucking teensploitation film.
Yeah,
'cause that always seemed to be the way. Of all these films, there's an actual band in them, and they just show up and perform like two of their songs over and over again.
Well, the Hot Rod Gang had Gene Vincent, which was a much bigger name than is in this film. The Renegades, I've never heard of them, but the song was written by Nick Venette, who would later go on to become a producer for Capitol Records and signed such acts as the Beach Boys, Bobby Darin, and Glenn Campbell.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not Mother's Favorite. Who's Mother's Favorite? Mum's Favorite.
John
Denver. I always
yeah.
get John Denver and Glenn Campbell mixed up. So not Mum's Favorite,
No.
but yeah. They also shoot guns. runs as part of the song,
They do.
as does Frenchie the chef.
Yes. Frenchie the chef should probably have lost his job. by
He
this
really
point.
should have
He's,
lost his job.
He's alarming. Let's just say that.
But no one's scared
No.
of the
'cause
guns being shot.
It looks like they go there every day, so
Yeah.
they're just used to it by now. Some of the ladies from the gang form a girl group trio, and they start performing a song about their guy to impress Tom Hendry, and some of the lyrics are absolute gold. Louis was really swell, Larry was smart, and Andy was sharp, but none of them gave me a thrill.
I can imagine Mae West singing it slower.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, none of them gave me a thrill.
It's an absolute banger.
It is actually. I would listen to it casually. Is it available on Spotify?
It's sadly not.
But it's on. It would be on YouTube.
Yeah. The Renegade songs are though, and they are on our playlist. On there.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm just absolutely living for this.
It's a serve. It goes off, as they'd say. It goes off.
It does go off. They may not be drag racing, but they are girl grouping.
Yeah. Lois leaves the joint, and we get some more casual sexism.
Oh,
She says, "Well, it's PMing. I better peel out. Anything else, Mr. Hemingway?" To which Tom Hendry replies, "I can dig the male of the species, but the female hot rodder baffles me. How do your folks feel about your passion for mechanics? Working on cars?" Lois says, "Oh, they're hoping it's like the measles. One day I'll wake up and it will disappear, they hope."
It's like, oh my god, come on. Mind your own fucking business.
Let it be.
Just let it be.
Fucking
So
hell.
what on earth does gender have to do with who's behind the wheel of a car?
But he's a journalist.
Yeah.
He's
It's
a
absolutely-
journalist, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Nothing to do with him, what she does.
But it is.
Yeah,
It should
to
be
write
the
about
main
it.
focus.
Yeah, to-
The main focus of his article should be this absolute queen slaying as a mechanic and a driver and, a drag racer. That should be it. He should be taking her photo. And he's not. He's like, "Oh, I don't get it."
Yeah.
It's not for you to get, Tom Hendry.
Just write about
It's
it.
really not.
But when she leaves, they all have a dance to Ghost Train by the Renegades, another song you'll hear many times later on.
Yes.
Lois returns home, and her dad's there waiting. She's like, "Oh, hi, Pop, I didn't see you." He's like, "Oh, what am I, palette of wallpaper?"
Things are just as bad at home.
He
as well.
fucking hates her.
He really does. Because he says, "It's time you were thinking about other things," as in not the mechanics. And she says, "Like what, men? You'd rather I tinkered with them than a motor? Or should I spend my days discussing the latest dirt with the cats? Like who's going to have a baby and why?" Yes, queen.
He's really angry that she didn't make it to Mrs. Brady's house. And she's like, "I have a serious problem, Father. My fuel system isn't working right. I have to take it apart." And he's like, "Well, I ought to take you apart, you little bitch."
He's like, "Call her a little bitch."
But he's like so angry. You might
He's
as well
so
call her a
angry.
bitch. He's so angry.
Oh, he says, "You're approaching womanhood." And she says, "I have news for you. I've arrived."
Yes.
To which she replies, "Well, tell me, has your mother ever talked to you about, well, you know?" To which the queen, and this is a spoiler for our awards at the end, the absolute queen turns to him and says, "And you'd be amazed at how much I taught her." I love these. We get it sometimes in modern films, but these real zingy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but I'm using it. Zingy one-liners. This. And it's not a screwball comedy, but that kind of style of wordplay, and it's what reading is really, and like sarcasm, and I love that kind of humor. It's what I sort of like to watch in films, you know, stuff like Bringing Up Baby and the one I can't remember, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The gang discuss the eviction some more at the diner, and Nita shows up with her boyfriend Tony. Or, I mean, he could be her grandfather. And they start talking tough to the Hot Rod gang, and the chef at the diner, in a bizarre series of events, pulls out his gun on Tony and Nita, and they threaten to report him for leaving Texas without a passport. Nita's like...
What's most shocking is the fact that before they've even opened their mouths, that shotgun is in their faces. Mm-hmm. Like, what? Because this is the first time we see Tony.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like the bad guy from Greed. Every single bad guy from these teen films. So we fully recognise what's going on. But literally, the moment they walk in, they have a shotgun in their face. Like, oh my God.
The dialogue just gets better and better. Nita's like, nice night for a ride. And Lois is like, go ride then. Tony tries putting his hands on Lois and she's like, take your flippers off me, seal.
Yeah. She also says to Nita, meet you at dawn tomorrow. Long fingernails at 10 paces.
Nita and Tony are just so intimidated and they leave. Tom suggests that they should just call the police, and Stan says there are some things the boys in blue can't handle. Yeah. And that's Nita and her 50-year-old boyfriend.
Tom, Henry and Frenchie talk a little about youth culture. I'm not really sure what they're going for with this. It's not very profound, to be fair. And Tom decides to call his article "This Restless Breed." Right, good for you, Tom.
Stan takes Lois home and they have a kiss outside in his car, and Lois's dad is fucking fuming. Well, I ought to kick that guy in the pants. I don't like him slobbering all over my girl. She's a baby. And Lois's mum's like, well, I was that age when you started dating me, and you gave me some pretty bad moments, remember? And he's like, yeah, but that was different.
But this is... The whole thing with Stan and Lois is the idea at the beginning, Tom asking Stan, oh, is that your gal?
Mm.
And he said, no, she's only got eyes for her motor. And then...
Good for her.
But she doesn't. Because they're necking in the bloody car outside her house. It gets it. The film, I learned...
They are in a car, though. So,
yeah.
I mean, there is that go. Maybe she's like the girl from Teton. Maybe she's fucking a car.
Gracious. But the thing is, I know it's a teensploitation film, so it is going to be here, there, and everywhere. I'm not looking for too much realism. But I would like if it sort of stuck to something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this could be... I feel like we need to remake this and make Lois turn around and say, nah, fuck you, Stan, get out.
Yeah.
This is my show.
Lois comes home and her dad has... Oh, do you think that's what Drive Away Dolls is going to be like?
Oh, might be.
I
really
hope so. Lois comes home and her dad has words with her about her near-fatal drag race with Nita, which is now front page news.
Why is it front page news? Slow news day. Surely that is a slow news day. If that's front page.
I mean, she did nearly kill her.
Kind of.
She drove her to a wall.
Yeah, but still, but it names and shames her as well.
I think Lois deserves to be on the front page every day, to be honest.
Yeah, but serving, not being called out for drag racing. What I was confused by was the fact that her father pretty much sends her mother away, so that they can discuss the fact that her drag racing from earlier and subsequent arrest has made the front page of the newspaper.
I know. Has her mother not seen the newspaper?
But why would her mother not want to be there to discuss it with her?
Yeah. Does she not know about it?
And this is... No, she did. Because she comes back in and says, I agree with your father. You're grounded. So she's aware of it. So I don't know why she's sent out the room.
No.
It's weird that Lois is a rather progressive character, but we still get moments like this.
Yeah.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. But, I'd rather...
This is your 19-year-old male-targeted side coming in. Because
where mummy has to leave the room.
Yeah, they don't want to see... and, I mean, in that era, I'm sure there are probably some men the same these days. But I'm sure they don't want to see Lois being a girl boss, taking over racing in a place where they believe men should be back at this time. So they've got to have these little things where she's getting disciplined, and obviously the ending where she chooses love over cars.
Yeah, it's true.
He explains that his best client, Anastasia, is coming to stay with them, and he hopes she doesn't find out about the racing. So he grounds Lois for 2 weeks.
Yes. What his job is, no idea. Why?
Flute teacher.
If she's his best client, why is she staying at his home and his house? It's weird. I don't know what he's selling, but apparently Anastasia loves it whenever he's selling to her.
That she does.
He says you may get to know your parents again.
Lois like, but there's a big bash coming up at the club, and he's like, a bash? Well, that sounds positively indecent. Lois suggests that they host the bash at their home and double it up with a slumber party. And he's like, oh no, not one of those all-female cackling sessions. Oh my god, what is wrong with you?
It's giving, it's just random. But the parents from Freddy's Revenge, where the mother has to coax the father up to bed so that they can have an actual enjoyable party.
Yeah.
Because he wants to chaperone. Was it Kim? Is that the actress's name?
Kim Myers, the actress.
Yeah. What's the character's name?
Oh.
So annoying.
Yeah.
Lisa. Lisa, yes.
Anastasia arrives, absolutely... They should do her for robbery because she steals everything she's in.
Well, her and her friend.
She is wearing a 11 out of 10 outfit.
Yes.
It's a knockout. She tells Lois's dad to go pay for a taxi fare, and immediately she starts to Lois, how much dick you getting?
She's basically... She's kind of dressed a bit like the mum from Mary Poppins. So it's very sort of Edwardian outfit, which is
like
a serve.
Edwardian, but make it cunt.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
She's brought a parrot, Alfonso. And Anastasia gets him to make various police noises.
Yeah.
And he starts being rude to everyone and calls Lois a dimwit. So Anastasia's like, nah, fuck off, and puts the sheet over him.
Well, why does he call Lois a dimwit?
Why?
Because she misgenders him.
Oh, okay.
So what, what's her name or something to that extent. And he says, he, you dimwit. Do I have to prove it? Yeah, and then he starts, flapping his parrot willy in her face.
Yeah, so she has to put a sheet over him.
She has to put a sheet over him because he flashed.
Oh, he's a despicable creature. Anastasia tells him how she used to play the harp until she realised it makes an excellent cheese grater. So then she starts playing flute really badly for everyone, and they're all having the worst time.
Well, the parrot the most. Just throughout the parrot scenes, I don't know. Obviously, the parrot's not actually talking within the scene, but I don't know how much the other actors know of what's going to be said, because they don't really react to it.
No.
And I'm assuming they're not meant to react to it, but it's kind of the parrot's rude and no one's actually shocked or like insulted when they've been called a dimwit. So I don't know how much the actors are aware of, but it is funny. It's kind of the lowest form of comedy.
It is
a rude parrot, but it is funny.
Lois and her parents host the Hot Rod Gang.
Excuse me.
Almost got my words mixed up.
Hot Rod Gang
way
Bang.
There. Hot Rod Gang Bash. Can you see my predicament? And they play Geronimo by the Renegades.
Hey,
that's the only band that everyone listens to.
Does she? I haven't got it in my notes, but doesn't she say this is the new record?
Yes,
Geronimo. Like, yeah, you just heard it the other day.
Lois's father goes outside and finds two kids kissing, and they're like, "Oh, we were just getting some air." And he's like, "Where do you think you'll find it? Down her throat." He has a chat with Tom about how he doesn't understand the youth of today, And Tom tells him it's because of the depressing state the world's in. They want to grow up fast because they don't know if there will be a tomorrow. It's like, oh my god, where the fuck did that come from?
Cold War, isn't it? Cold War.
They all have a slow dance to I Promise You. I don't know who it's by.
I promise you. Bonzo the Clown, he partakes in a slow dance with Lois's mother.
Yeah, they've all swapped partners now.
Yeah, and he informs her that she's a MILF, pretty much.
And yeah.
Yeah, there's no two ways about it. Oh, you're a fitty, or well, I don't. The jargon. I'm not sure because we watched a few of these films, but we haven't watched loads of these films, and I can't say I'm an expert, but some of it I genuinely just feel they've made up for the film. Like kids back then didn't actually speak like that, and also like this is from 1959. So why do we not have 70, 80-year-olds talking like this now?
Yeah, that's true.
Why is it not stuck?
Well, we haven't been to America.
Well, no, but we've seen films, American films, and like, interviews with older Americans, and they don't talk like this anymore. And I think it's a real shame.
Yeah.
I do actually think it's a real shame.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have no fucking clue what the hell they're going on about, but I'd be entertained, I tell you.
Anastasia says, oh, this is a wonderful party. I know because I have a splitting headache. I'll retire for the night. So she goes to bed and starts playing a flute.
She's not a Mae West character. She's
Oh,
more
they
like
all sound like Mae West.
an elderly lady. So, oh, this is a wonderful party. I know because I have a splitting headache.
Okay, she doesn't sound like that.
Well, somewhere between the two of us.
She goes to bed and starts playing her flute to give everyone else a splitting headache. And Lois's mum convinces Lois's dad to go to bed and leave the kids alone. But as they leave, those fucking troublemakers, Nita and Tony, arrive.
Yeah, question. Tony and Nita and a couple of friends who never get names or any
scummy
dialogue.
friends, as they're called. Was it scummy friends they get called?
I think so. They turn up. They know they're going to be turned away.
Yeah.
Because they're in some sort of feud.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they dressed up? Like, if you've
Just
gone,
in case they get
if you've gone to annoy someone at a party, you don't have to dress up for the occasion.
Everyone wears a suit in the 50s.
Like, poor Nita. I kind of feel sorry for Nita because I think Tony's a bad influence on her. But she's like dressed to the nines. She's serving. She's like she's ready for prom. And they get turned away, obviously. What a complete waste of time.
Well, I mean, Stan's like, just fuck off. And Lois, out of nowhere, I mean, I feel like she's doing a bit of a Jolene on Nita. She starts dancing with Tony and just looks her dead in the eye the whole time. Yeah. And Stan's like, hey, that's enough, you two. And Nita's like, get the fuck here now, and drags Tony out of the house.
Pretty much. It's weird because it's not really established how much of a relationship Nita and Tony have.
No.
Because Tony kind of only has eyes for Lois.
It is a very awkward dance. Like, it is literally just, he's resting his head on her. She's just like staring at Nita. It's like,
Well, she does the dance because she doesn't want any trouble at her home because it's her house.
Yeah, so dancing with her fucking rival's boyfriend while staring her dead in the eyes and not going to cause any trouble.
True.
The slumber party begins, and the girls have a dance to the Charge by the Renegades. We only hear this one once. Before they all start laughing at a Western on TV.
Oh my god, but this is very confusing. So they play Charge, okay? And it's quite loud. So one of the girls switches on the TV for some reason. And you get like Civil War soldiers charging forwards and then backwards and then forwards. So it's like a YouTube poop.
Yeah.
Of these Civil War soldiers on horseback. And the girls think it's the most hilarious thing. I mean, it's sad really because this parrot has been on top form throughout the whole film. He's been reading people left, right and centre. And no one's laughed.
No.
But the moment you put on some Civil War soldiers YouTube poop version, they're in hysterics. Very confusing.
Yeah.
Understandably, Lois's father can't sleep Because they are being very loud.
They are. And also, he sleeps in a separate single bed to Lois's mother.
1959,
Yeah.
definitely. It does. It cracks me up because it is a sign of the times when married couples in these films sleep in separate single beds, like they don't have a daughter already.
I know, yeah.
Outside, the jig is up.
He keeps trying to use the bathroom, but the girls keep getting there before him. And he falls asleep outside of the bathroom. Lois wakes him up, and he fucking breaks the fourth wall. And he's like, "What am I doing here?"
Yeah. What made me laugh is that he insinuates that he didn't make it in time the last time he tried to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
So he's already pissed himself once that night. And also the joke is, of course, don't females go to the bathroom a lot? Don't women urinate a hell of a lot? Oh, and they're going in together and they're talking. Oh, they take ages. But, I mean, there's not that many girls there.
No.
So the amount of times they go in and out, I mean, I don't want to insinuate it, but they might want some cranberry juice if they're having to use the toilet that many times.
You did not go where I thought you were going with that.
No.
I thought you were going to say they're just baguettes.
Baguette. Oh, they're doing lines of coke off the toilet. Maybe.
The Hot Rod Gang are finally evicted from their clubhouse. Or the Seven Gang, whatever the fucking called this.
Zenith Club.
Thank you. Anastasia takes Lois and Alfonso to the clubhouse so Lois can say her goodbyes and almost kills them both on the way there while she's speeding.
Hilarious scene of Anastasia driving very dangerously because she doesn't have a license. What I found hilarious was Lois's mum, who says, "No, you're not allowed to drive. You're still grounded. You're not allowed to drive. You're not allowed to drive." But she was perfectly fine with someone who does not have a license driving her there.
No.
You can't drive because you're grounded. But this older lady who probably hasn't had an eye test in a very long time and does not have a driving license is perfectly fine taking you there. Go for it. What's that teaching the youth of America in 1959?
It's now 40 minutes in, and Anastasia finally suggests that they move to an old, haunted, deserted mansion.
Oh shit, this meant to be a horror film.
And they set up, and she's just they set up shop in Dragstrip Hollow.
Yeah.
So they can make it their new headquarters. She tells them all about its creepy past and how she's witnessed all sorts of spooky shit there before.
So they turn up at the house.
Yeah.
And it's a haunted house. It's your very stereotypical haunted house.
Yeah.
It's given Addams Family, the Munsters, it's given William Castle, all that stuff. It really doesn't seem fit for purpose, though.
No.
Because what the club had was a diner.
Yeah.
So food could be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And Frenchie had a job. And also like a garage part.
Yeah.
Like a proper garage where lots of cars could be and they could work on them. This is a haunted house.
Yeah.
This is just a haunted house. So there's probably a kitchen, okay, but it's a haunted house.
Yeah. It did not need to be here. I mean,
no purpose whatsoever.
it's very from this point on, it's very Abbott and Costello.
Yes.
You know, it's that sort of humour. Two eyes are seen floating in the mansion as they arrive, as well as the shadow of a monster walking down the stairs.
Like 50 fucking times. How many times do you have to see that shadow down the fucking stairs?
And Lois is like, this place is loaded with ectoplasm, isn't it?
Girl.
They're trying to go in, and all they can hear is like, ooh, ooh. Just like fucking Poundland Halloween noises. And Tom's like, nah, it's fine, we'll go in. And now Tom starts acting so fucking sketchy. And as at this point, we should probably be like, hang on, we let this guy fucking sleep with us in our clubhouse. Because he's acting like a red herring.
Well, he believes that there's a rational explanation for all of it. But then decides that him and Stan need to take turns keeping watch.
Yeah.
As they sleep there overnight. Like, what? I don't understand the purpose of him sleeping there overnight.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
really
a little
get...
strange. And also she's grounded for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So.
I thought she was still grounded. No, wasn't it coming to the end of her being grounded?
Was it? Time
But it
isn't a
was
real thing in
still
this film.
within the time scale of her not being allowed to drive. Anyway, the monster. I'm gonna call it a monster because it's not a ghost.
It's not even a monster.
But it's the film's called Ghost of
I know,
Dragstrip
yeah.
Hollow. It's not a ghost.
We do see a ghost though.
Do we?
Within the final few seconds.
Oh, okay. Well, Bonzo's girlfriend gets her ass pinched by
Yeah.
this monster. Again, sign of the times. Lois gets spun around when she sits in the front of the fireplace, so Stan gaslights her about it.
Bonzo the Clown's hat's lifted up by
Yes.
invisible force.
Yes.
Which doesn't really make any sense considering the main culprit is a guy in a monster suit.
Yeah.
Dave sinks into a chair. We hear more screams and groans, and one of them's like, "I recognise that scream," and the other's like, "That was Grandmother Aphrodite."
Yeah.
What? The ghost is just constantly playing pranks on people.
It just keeps walking around and touching people.
And Alfonso's like, "Oh, everyone will be really quiet in the morning."
The monster looks like a cheap version of the creature from the Black
Yeah.
Lagoon, let's be honest. And special effects man Paul Blaisdell recycled 2 monster costumes.
Yeah.
The outfit from the she creature from 1956 and the alien head from Invasion of the Saucer Men in 1957, and it looks exactly like that sounds.
Yeah, Lois thinks Tom could be one of the weirdos running the place.
Yeah.
Because of his new
Understandably.
red herrings.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the whole fireplace thing happens. And
Yeah.
the guy walks out. And I just love a guy in a suit like this in monster movies. As I've told people on the podcast many times when we've covered films like this, it's just so much charm to it. I love it.
Let's give it Scooby-Doo.
It is, yeah. He, the monster goes for a nap next to Dave and puts his arm around him. Dave grabs the guy's hand, gives a bit of a funny look to the camera, but doesn't really react.
Yeah.
So that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
For the club's grand opening and the reveal of Dave's car, Amelia, they hold a Halloween masked ball and invite everyone to come dressed as their favourite monster.
Yeah, so the next morning, the monster's fucked off and no one has a problem anymore. So they start to clean the place up and organise a costume party for that evening, like Gary said. Tom Hendry tells Lois that she and the other girls can throw some costumes together. Fuck off. Fuck off.
It's a fashion challenge.
It's
a design challenge.
It's a struggle. I'm struggling. Well, I'm not struggling. The film's struggling to figure out what it wants to say about gender roles.
I know.
But then we cut to the party anyway, and the girls have put together some good costumes.
I like the costumes.
Yeah.
Which band did they get to play?
I don't know.
It's, of course, the town band, the Renegades, and they're performing Ghost Train 3 times.
3 times.
But then, the big success that is Jimmy Madden shows up.
Yeah.
And starts performing his hit record, Tongue Tied, to the camera, breaking the fourth wall.
Yes. And I like the song. He looks very out of place because everyone's in their costumes and he's dressed perfectly normal. He's like a suit and such. But they do say it's Jimmy Madden performing his hit single, Tongue Tied. Well, I've done the research and I don't think it was a hit single because I can't find anything on that song.
No.
I'm assuming that Jimmy Madden was hoping that the film would create a hit single.
Yeah.
And seemingly it didn't.
No.
But I liked the song. I liked Bonzo and his girlfriend doing a skeleton clad jive. I liked when the monster has a dance with Lois and Lois is in a blonde wig serving.
Lois's blonde wig is amazing. Tom and Stan are looking all over the house for the ghost sanctuary. But yeah, the monster's having a dance.
Yeah, he's joining in.
Tony, Nita, and their friends show up and pay Lois off before having a dance. But then Nita challenges Lois to a race, and Stan is fuming that Lois took her on yet again, and they settle this by having a nice dance together. Yeah, we don't see the race.
No. It's genuinely, it's the worst part of the film. Really annoying. So they don't pay her off. They pay her money to join the party. So they're charging people to join so they can get money for the club. Nita deliberately bumps into Lois and they decide to have one final drag race to put their issues to rest. Fantastic. Lois says, let me get changed. Cut. Camera cuts. Come back.
Yeah, the wig's gone.
Wig's gone and she's being told off by
Do you
Stan.
think her wig flew whilst drag racing?
I hope so. I do hope so. But it's so annoying. Why would we not see it? Why?
Instead, we have to watch the incel that is Dave presenting Amelia to everyone. He definitely shags his car.
Definitely.
He's like, now, don't get too close. You'll give her claustrophobia. She catches a cold easily. How
did they get that car inside?
I know. How did he get inside that car?
Why? Why would they bring the car? Ew. Disgusting.
He tells everyone how sensitive the car is, and the car starts speaking to him. That is ultimate incel behavior. He's created a car that speaks to him. Dave decides he wants to give Amelia's first ride to Anastasia. I mean, of course. And she wants to bring...
Technically second, I think.
She wants to bring Alfonso. And the car... Amelia's like, get this pigeon off me.
Yeah.
The car catches fire at the back. And Dave asks if the house is haunted for some reason. And the car's like, the house is haunted. It's like, okay, hang on a minute.
The car seems
Why
to
does
be...
the car know?
Like Mystic Meg. Like all-knowing. And then it finds a way to open the fireplace.
It solves the fucking mystery.
So Lois has been vindicated. And the fireplace does spin.
Yeah.
And it's the car that sort of... I don't know, it's an antenna or something. Pokes a button.
Yeah.
A very obvious button, let's be clear. And, that's it. I mean...
the car saves
the car. The car saves this car that knows everything, saves the day. Because then Tom Hendry helps.
Yeah.
Because he finds a way to unmask the monster by telling everyone to unmask for the best costume award. Which
Take it off. Take it off.
Oh, God, yeah. Like the Masked Singer. For the best costume award. Which, I mean, why would you take part of your costume off for the best costume award?
Rita Ora stands up, she's like, who are you?
Who are you?
And the phony monster is unmasked by one of the teenagers, revealing it to be AIP special effects maestro Paul Blaisdell, who plays the monster that he created.
Yeah, so he appears... Well, he has what I assume to be, and I don't want to make assumptions about people's voice, but I'm assuming it's a put-on squeaky voice.
Yeah.
They appear to know him, and he talks about how he'd starred in a previous film. So, like Gary said,
it goes with the breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
It's kind of like self-referential. I mean, this is kind of definitely paved the way for Scream.
But shut the fuck up. Shut your fucking mouth.
But he's crying and he's complaining to the camera, like, well, you've seen me before. I scared you to death in the day the world ended. You shivered when you saw me in She Creature. Oh, the shame of it, the indignity. They didn't use me in Horrors of the Black Museum after my years of faithful service. They just threw me away.
So what they're going for is a disgruntled special effects guy. Which is a very weird inside joke. I can't imagine anyone in 1950... Because, bitch, they didn't have IMDb back then.
No, I can't believe it's him.
I can't believe it. I cannot imagine anyone in 1959 going, oh my God, it's him. It's Paul Blaisdell. Like, oh my God. So the mystery's solved, and... They
all chase him out.
They do, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But then they continue partying. They're having they're like, oh, well, that's all solved now. When the real ghost of the house's owner, John Abernathy, walks out of his portrait and towards the screen. And the kids are like, they all stop and stare at him, but then they start dancing again. You've all just seen a real ghost.
Yeah.
And then we get a title saying that the Endest Man.
And that's it.
That's Ghost of Dragstrip Hollow.
That's Ghost of Dragstrip Hollow.
What a film.
Have you been missold PPI? Or have you been missold AIP?
I'm not mad because I was thoroughly entertained throughout every second of that. It was the messages are a little mixed up, classic 1950s, but you know, I'm here for the rest of the film, and I would happily watch that again. It's only an hour and 5 minutes long.
Yes. Yeah, no, thoroughly enjoyable. So silly. Real product of its time. So yeah, okay, the politics are a little skewed,
Yeah.
but you know, it's an enjoyable film, and there is a little bit of that positive representation. I mean, if you just see it for what it is, at least there's a little bit of positive representation there.
Yeah.
In terms of the Arkoff formula that we spoke about earlier, action,
Yeah.
yeah,
It definitely had that.
revolution, so a novel or controversial theme,
Women racing.
women drag racing, yeah, killing, so a little bit of violence. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody got
Wasn't exactly a
shotgun in
murder.
their face.
That's true.
Oratory, so notable dialogue and speeches, all that sort of teenage talk that makes no sense. Fantasy, talking car,
the ghosts at the end.
fornication, well,
snogging in the car,
the sleepover, or slumber party, should I say? You know, it's 1959, so you're not going to get it that racy. So it ticks all those boxes.
Achieved what I set out to do.
You know, yeah, it's good. I mean, it is what it is, and I do feel like myself and Gary have an affinity to these kind of films. If you don't like this kind of film, it's not for you.
No, but
we eat this shit up. We love this kind of Americana teensploitation. Yeah, it's top notch entertainment.
So let's get to the awards. Biggest queen. I mean, come on,
Nita. Lois.
It is Lois.
It
of
is.
course. Biggest gasp. I've got Dave's misogyny.
Oh my god! I
Actually
literally
made me
put down
gasp.
Dave's misogyny.
Like, I mean, that
thought
was an
better of
actual
him.
gasp. Oh my god.
Yeah,
It wasn't like that in Hot
better.
Rod Gang.
No, I don't think.
We would have noticed.
They keep it hidden, don't they?
Best dialogue. I've got take your flippers off me, seal.
Where do you think you'd find it? Down her throat.
And that's camp. I have the Hot Rod Gang girl group performing He's My Guy.
Yes. I went with Alfonso the Parrot reading everyone to filth.
Ratings, I give it 8 cheese grating harps out of 10.
I gave it 7 baffling female hot rodders out of 10.
Masterpiece, trash, basic, or a camp old bunch of fun. A new award introduced.
Right now.
Yes, because it's very appropriate because there's a camp old bunch of fun.
It is. It's a camp old bunch of fun. Camptastic, camptacular.
Yeah.
It's camp.
It's available on YouTube and nowhere else. It needs a Blu-ray release. I would want a big box set.
A old DVD release.
Does it? In America.
In America. Yeah. And it was the double feature with that Teenage Bride film. So
okay.
I assume what they were going for is that this is a DVD version of the drive-through double bill, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I'd love to see a big box set of those double features.
Oh my god! Like, I would love anyone really.
I mean, Shout Factory.
Indicator or Shout Factory in America to do like a box set of these Arkoff films. Oh my god! I would give you good money for that.
If you enjoyed this, I mean, check out any of those sort of films, but specifically I recommend The Horror of Party Beach.
Yes, I went a little different. If you liked the look of the trailer, which has no bearings on the film, then I say check out William Castle's original 13 Ghosts.
Yes.
Because that is the film that the trailer for this film was meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have a favourite teensploitation film, tell us on social media. We're Horror Cult Trash over on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok, and Horror Cult Trash on Twitter. I'm DeadGaz92 on Letterboxd, Gazmo205 on Instagram, and GazCruise92 on Twitter. I just realised we still call it Twitter. I mean, fuck calling it the other names. Elon Musk go fuck himself. He's lucky we're still on there. Carry on. You're on Letterboxd and Instagram.
I'm on Letterboxd and Instagram because I don't believe in Elon Musk taking over the world. And also,
I mean, our
Twitter.
podcast doesn't either. Just to put that out there.
But Twitter is a hateful place. I'm
Yes,
Chris
and-
Barker 823 on Letterboxd and Instagram. I'm sorry, it's the fucking truth.
It is.
Every time I ever went on Twitter, people were just being horrible to each other. I don't know if I was following the wrong people. And this is a minor rant. I'm sorry, but I thought it was horrible. People just being really horrible to each other.
And on that note, unless you have some sort of emotional attachment to Twitter, give us a rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, and like and follow on everything else. We'll be back on Friday with our threesome with Dr. Moreau. It is original versus remake
I
time
barely know
again,
it.
and we're going into all 3 versions of the Dr. Moreau story
We
that's been put
certainly
on
are.
screen.
It's going to be. Oof.
And next week,
I don't know what that means. Oof. It's going to be something.
I mean, there probably will be people saying "woof" in the films.
Oof.
Next week,
What's next week?
there's something wrong with this beach. We are taking you for our final Summer Screens episode of 2023. We are taking you to the beach that makes you old. And we're discussing M. Night Shyamalan's Old, the first Shyamalan film we've discussed on this podcast.
Good gracious. Yeah.
Yeah, a film where we were in pain trying to stop ourselves laughing at the cinema.
Oh my god.
There's a lot to say.
A laugh riot. Definitely.
Yeah. So we'll be back, same time, same place on Friday.
Bye.